ये चालू करते हैं। ठीक है। So, so you need a lot of resources. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
So yesterday we stopped at the point where we said this book is calling the independent two functions because both of them are of two sides of a same coin. It is being called feeling and desire together. Okay, that is where we stopped, correct? So now,
Yes.
let us go into the depth of this. What is this feeling and desire? So this feeling and desire is the power by which, right, nature and senses can be moved. What that also, anyway, that doesn't matter. Now, feeling and desire is the way in which our body responds, and when it comes, that's what is happening in the nature itself, right, in the universe. So whether through the agency of do, so all the participants of the universe, be it on the physical world, be it in the, be it the triune self, be it the intelligences, the realm of permanence, and even the supreme intelligence, they are all party to this feeling and desire. It influences everyone. Nobody is an exception. Now, when it comes to the human body, how does this behavior? I mean, how is the behavior of feeling and desire? So, when it comes to the human body, right? Human body responds to what?
Senses.
Correct. Right? Human body is under the control of our senses.
Senses.
Now, who is controlling the senses?
Doer.
But which part of the doer?
Passive part.
Yes.
No, both.
Passive
Active and passive, both.
Correct. Because see, this active part and passive part of the doer are the same thing, correct? They are two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
So, in some cases, feeling will dominate. In the other cases, desire will dominate. Correct. So, This feeling and desire is the conscious power which operates this individual nature machine. What is the human body is the individual nature machine.
Nature
Correct?
machine. Yes.
Correct. So not one of the four senses can feel. Correct? You tell me which can feel? None of them. What are the four senses?
Hear, smell, taste, and sight.
And sight. Correct. So they cannot feel. Right? Feeling is the passive aspect of the doer, and desire is the active aspect of the doer. Further, it can be in varying degrees to which this feeling and desire, it can in varying degrees perceive supersensory impressions such as, which one? This feeling and desire, the individual nature machine, it can perceive this mood, an atmosphere, a premonition. It can feel what is right and what is wrong. It can feel the warnings of the conscience and so on. All these are possible. Which one? This, what do you call the human body?
Yes.
It is in that body that feels, which feels the body and feels the impressions. So this feeling part, it feels, it can feel. I'm talking about the feeling and desire component of the doer. Correct? It can feel in the body, which feels, which which feels the body and feels the impressions. What are these impressions again? Impressions are the variations in the forms that are transmitted to the body by the four senses as sensations. Okay, they are transmitted by the four senses, and the doer feels it as sensation. Okay. Now, when it comes to the active part, see what is happening. Active part is the conscious power that moves the body in the accomplishment of the doer's purpose. Feeling क्या करता है? Feeling receives the impressions. Feeling can sense the atmosphere, the mood, a premonition. It can feel that what is right, what is wrong. What is right, what is wrong, matlab it becomes the conscience, correct?
Yes.
And it can also feel the knowledge of conscious self in the body. Okay. And then, if we really come to the other side, the doer functions simultaneously in both aspects, correct? Because both are the same. It is a reaction. So what happens? Every desire arises from a feeling and vice versa. Every feeling gives rise to a desire. वो एक vicious circle है.
Yeah.
Right? So now what happens? The knowledge of the conscious self in the body requires us to think of ourselves as the intelligent feeling present through our voluntary nervous system. See, the senses variation controls both voluntary and involuntary, both functions of the body. Correct? So, feeling and desire should synthesize the four senses. That means it should be able to identify the four senses, break it down. An understanding of the place and function of the feeling and desire is the point of departure from belief. Would you agree?
थोड़ा सा और clear कर दो.
एक और बार. See, let's look at it. I believe that the water tub, the content in the water tub is cold water. Okay. Now, you get the sensation by probably one of the sensory organ. Okay. One of the sensory organ will give you the sensation. Will you depart from your belief the moment you sense that? You believe that it is cold water, right? But when you experience the sensation, or you see smoke coming out of it, you may believe that it is smoke because of ice. Are you able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So that becomes the point of departure from the belief. So belief is something that you hold as a thought.
Yes.
Correct. Correct. Now,
Correct.
that will stand corrected the moment feeling and desire. See, an understanding of the place and function of feeling and desire is the point of departure from the belief.
Yes, sir.
Right. And this feeling and desire, right, for many ages have caused the doers in human being to think of themselves as mortals. Because you are able to get influenced with all these capabilities, you start thinking that you are the doer, not that there is some power inside you which is making things happen. Correct?
Yes.
Any question here?
No.
Right. So, if we go back to all the religious interpretations, right, we will observe the following. Why were the truths given? This I had already explained. Basically, that there is a what anyone thinks or no. See, this one I was telling, no, the reason might have been that the laws of the period prohibited the spreading of new doctrines, or the circulation of a strange teaching or doctrine could have been punishable by death, or right, I mean, those are the reasons why the realistic truth about everything was hidden by virtue of the beliefs of the religion, and that is how religions, the various different paradigms that have been given to us. But one thing that is very important, we will limit our understanding about feeling and desire and the influence of religion and all only to one thing. That is why I have put the statement, for our understanding, we shall take the following insights. The temple is the symbol of the human body, which man must rebuild, regenerate into a physical body. So what he is saying is the human body is actually a temple that needs to be rebuilt, regenerated into a complete physical body, leading to, right, a body that will be eternal, everlasting, a body that will be fitting habitation for the then consciously immortal doer. See, when we start with the definition of the triune self, right? Triune self, when it is totally balanced, we read earlier, right, that originally all these were completely, they were in immortal physical body. You recall that, right? When we studied about the soul. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
When we studied about the soul, do we recall that this was the state, in the sense, before we became imperfect by virtue of succumbing to the desire or feeling, we were
Yes.
perfect immortal bodies, physical immortal bodies, occupying the realm of permanence.
Yes.
Right? So from there, because of this variation, we came to earth to purify those portions that were damaged by the succumbing, Vishwamitra. Right? So this physical body, the one that can once again become purified, good enough for the doer to occupy and merge with the triune self. Right? See, the will be eternal, everlasting, right? So the word which is lost is the doer. Lost in its human body. We saw that, right? The human body, he starts getting controlled by what? In the human body, what is the doer controlled by?
Desires,
Senses.
senses.
His senses and the coils of flesh that surround it.
Okay.
Correct? Only yesterday we read that, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So that is the one that is lost and it has to regain. That is the ruin of the, so the damaged or lost in its human body is the ruins of the once great temple, but which will find itself as the body is regenerated and the doer takes control of it. Which doer is this? Not the doer in the, from the senses, the doer has to take control of it, which means what does it mean? It means that the senses are brought under complete balance. Correct? There is no variation. Feeling is equal to desire, desire is equal to feeling. There is no domination of one over the other. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
If someone
Yes,
wants
sir.
another explanation, we will try. Okay. So now, see, in order to get an understanding of that, he takes us through what he calls a light on our thinking, light to find our way through life, right? This is not a light of nature. What does it mean? It means it is a new light because although it has been a presence with us, we have not known about it. This is the consciousness. It is a conscious light. And conscious light will come from where? Whom does it belong to?
Doer part.
No, this conscious light is the intelligence. It comes from the triune self.
Okay, sir.
Doer part is only feeling and
Desire.
correct.
Desires.
Correct. So, and he is under the control. But now we can use this conscious light as our knowledge, the knower, the thinker, and all that, which is not a function of the doer as such. Till the knower and thinker give the power to the doer. Right? So, what he is saying is, we will call this, it is termed as the conscious light within. It is the light that can show us things as they are. The light of intelligence to which we are related. Why are we related to that light of intelligence?
Because of doer is the part of triune self.
Correct.
And
So the intelligence is the one which has got the light, which owns the light. Correct. And we also saw that radiance is the light again, fire is the light again, correct? And there is the light world, we have got before the airy world, the form world, then the liquid world and all, the fluid world and all that, correct? The four worlds you recall,
yes, sir.
right? See, we should never forget that diagram. That is very important for us. This diagram is the lifeline of this subject, right? So, when you come light world, life world, form world, physical world. You're with me?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, this light world, unfortunately, does not touch the physical world. It doesn't come into the physical portion or the manifested portion. It is completely diffused. Correct. So, that light we will get as our consciousness increases, we get the ability to see. And that is the light which has, right, that enables us to see, enables us to experience and all. It is because of the presence of this light that we are able to think in creating thoughts. Thoughts that bind us to objects of nature. Right? Bind us to objects of nature, or that free us from objects of nature. That means when we are under the influence of the senses, correct? We are not able to see anything. We are blinded by it. But we also have a source of light. We are related to it because we are triune selves ourselves, correct? A portion of that has come down for getting purified. As we get purified, we will be able to start seeing it. We need that light. We need that information. We need that intelligence for us even to create thoughts. Right? So, this thoughts that bind us to the objects of nature or that free us from objects of nature. Thoughts can do both, correct? The level of consciousness can either free us from those kind of thoughts or they make us completely dependent on that particular object of nature, which is what objects of nature means. From intelligence, we are moving into unintelligent state. Do you agree?
Physical world.
Correct.
Yes.
No. Physical world, in either case, even if it is physical world, are you in the nature side, that is the unintelligent, conscious of things to the extent of their function?
Okay,
Or
right,
are
sir.
you conscious beyond? That differentiation is by virtue of this light.
Okay, okay.
Correct.
It gives us
So,
vision. It right,
correct.
sir?
So this is the knowledge. See, by our thinking, we make our destiny. Right thinking is the way to knowledge of ourselves. Otherwise, we are bound by our senses. Are you seeing the
Yes.
difference now?
Yes.
See, on one side, you have only objects. When you are in the object, when you are object focused, you don't get to think beyond the physical world. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, that which can show us the way and which can lead us on our way is the light of intelligence, the conscious light within. There is a conscious light within, but you have your doer has to permit that to show. Because the knower and the thinker, they are always ready to help you. But we should take that step, which means we have to rise beyond our consciousness by virtue of this light has to increase. That means we shall also learn how this light should be used in order to have more light. Correct? That we will see. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions here?
I have
So,
one question.
yes.
Sir, excuse me. I
Yeah.
have one question that
Yes,
you
sir.
are saying that when we lose our perfection between these two things, desire and feeling,
Ah,
then we need to start from the scratch or from which point?
sir, it will be from the point of departure. When you say point of departure, it will be where your imperfection starts. See, as a soul, right? If we are progressing, let us say, right from scratch, from the stage of an element, if we go to this diagram, right?
Yes, yes.
We have already become breath form. Where
Right. Okay.
when we come to the last stage, before we enter intelligence, we are
Okay.
becoming breath form, correct?
Okay, right, correct.
Correct. Now, with the breath form, once we get into the intelligent side, we may have to start where our intelligence lies. Where is our awareness? The breath form, based on the shape of the form, which has to see, ultimately it is the form that has to balance with the breath.
Okay, yes, sir.
Correct. And breath has got only one function. What is the function of the breath?
To provide life.
To provide life and
Soul.
build, sustain, repair, and all that activity is the one that is responsible. All the involuntary functions are again because of the breath.
Yes, breath.
Means maintenance activity.
Correct. Maintenance, sustenance, all that. Okay. So, is that clear now? Right. So, let us go back. Now, let us try to understand or dissect or synthesize the mind, or actually analyze the mind. Okay. Mind is commonly used as an all-inclusive term which consists of three components. To apply to all, it applies to all kinds of thinking indiscriminately. We have been using it like that. My mind is not working. But actually, if you really look at it, it is generally supposed that man has only one mind. That is what our perception is, correct?
Correct, sir.
We don't
And
recognize the others. But
that is body
actually,
mind.
see, actually, there are three different minds and distinct minds. That is, ways for thinking with the conscious light are being used by embodied doer, but there are three distinct minds. Okay, there are three distinct minds that are used by for the purpose of thinking by the doer. What are they? One is the body mind, then there is the feeling mind and the desire mind. They are fed with this conscious light. The body mind is the functioning of intelligence matter. Mind is the functioning of the intelligent matter. Intelligent matter matlab? Sir,
Intelligent matter.
what is
Thinker.
intelligent matter?
Thinkers.
A matter that is on the intelligent side of the universe is intelligent matter. A mind which is on the nature side of the matter is unintelligent, conscious of its function only. Is that clear? We are forgetting that. See, the universe is divided into two components. ये diagram याद रखिए. I'm going to stop the sharing for a few minutes. See, what is the intelligent matter? The universe is divided into two segments in the middle, right? On the left and right. On the left is unintelligent matter. When we say unintelligent, it doesn't, here intelligence is not the opposite of stupid. Here intelligent is the side in which matter is conscious by virtue of its function only. Right? So probably this needs to slowly over the years evolve into a breath form, and then it becomes a doer. From breath form, it takes the shape of the AIA unit where the doer, a portion of the doer from the triune self enters the body. That is when it becomes intelligent matter and then evolves. The ultimate stage of evolution is the triune self. Beyond the triune self, it is able to sustain its intelligence by means of balance in the desire and feeling, then it enters the realm of permanence. Is that clear? Or is there a doubt still?
Clear, sir.
And what about Meenakshi ji? What about Gurpinder ji?
So clear.
Clear, sir.
Because this terminology also we have to get used to.
Yeah, slowly, slowly, sir.
That is why this error is happening again and again. No problem. We will get it to that. Right? Where is this? So you have got the body mind, that is the intellect, the feeling mind, and the desire mind. How does that come up? Let us see. Mind is the functioning of the intelligent matter. A mind, therefore, does not function independently of the doer. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
That means the doer needs to have a component of the body mind. It needs to have a component of the feeling mind and the thinking mind. The functioning of each of the three minds is dependent upon the embodied feeling and desire. That is the doer. Correct? You are able to relate to this, right? Each of these minds is related to the doer. Correct? Now, let us go a little bit further. Where does this come in between? And feeling mind. Yes, Gayatri, correct. Yeah. So, now, let us go into this. Okay, right. So it needs the doer to deliver its goods. How does that also happen? We will come to that portion. So our thoughts are real things. That is real beings. How the only real thing which man creates are his thoughts. Right? The mental process by which thoughts are created, and that many thoughts are more lasting than the body or brain through which they are created. So these thoughts last beyond the body or brain which is actually creating that thought. So this is the characteristic of a thought. Correct? The thoughts that man thinks are the potentials, the blueprints, the designs, the models from which he builds out. Correct? See, thoughts are not things. Thoughts have to be made things. But they are the potentials, they are the blueprints, they are the designs, they are the models, they are the forms which one has to build out. The tangible material things with which he has changed the face of nature. That is what is the thought, correct? And made what is called his way of living and his civilization. So what is he saying? Only thought is the real one. The thought will survive beyond the body or the brain.
Yes.
We can agree to that statement, correct? Is there absolute silence?
So means thoughts are the real energy.
Correct. Let us say that you are a carpenter. You are creating a table. How has the table got created?
जो आपके मन में विचार होंगे उस हिसाब से.
आपके मन में, आपके दिमाग में.
जो yes.
Huh? So the thoughts that a man thinks are the potential. You saw a piece of wood, you conceptualize a table out of it.
Yes.
You created the blueprint or the
First
design
in
of
mind.
the table.
Yes. In the
Or
thought.
the model of the table, and then you built it out.
Yes.
Correct? So, the tangible material things with which he has changed the face of nature. Nature was the tree, the wood. Okay?
Yes.
Huh?
Understand.
And using thoughts only, we created our civilization and our way of living. Right? So thoughts is the backbone to all these activities.
Activities.
Correct? So thoughts are the ideas or forms out of which and upon which civilizations are built and maintained and destroyed.
Destroyed. Yes.
Right? Our unseen thoughts exteriorize as the acts and objects and events of our individual and collective life. So what you are able to see is the material side. Correct? Our unseen thoughts, they also influence us. Our unseen thoughts are, they exteriorize as the acts and objects and events of our individual and collective life. See, Seth mein, in Nature of Personal Reality, he says, your thoughts influence the environment in which you are living. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Right? Like there are some of the evolved masters who with their thoughts manifest rain by doing yajna vagera. Right? So where are all those coming from? It is our thoughts. So that is why he says, our unseen thoughts exteriorize as the acts and objects and events of our individual and collective life. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Any question here? We can learn to think without creating thoughts and thus control our own destiny. That is another objective that we have in life. One of the purpose. Learning to think without creating thoughts and thus control our own destiny. So that is one way that we can control our destiny. Right? Let us go into the depth of the three minds. Okay? So thoughts का इतना power है. समझ में आ गया है ना?
Yes. Learning to think.
हाँ.
Hello, sir.
What he is saying is, we can learn to think without creating thoughts. That means whatever thought you are generating, immediately consume it.
So Meenakshi is saying something.
Yeah.
Sir, I want to ask, like sometimes we are thinking that we want this or that, but yet we are not able to get that.
Correct.
But thoughts में
Huh?
means we
See,
are
वहाँ
thinking
पे,
of,
see, one of the law of thought further breaks down to, see, one thing that we are looking at is you are thinking about your thought today in this life, correct?
yes, sir.
Ji, you are thinking of you want something in this life,
Yes.
but your thoughts survive your life, your body. Okay? Are you with me?
Yes. Yes.
What you have thought earlier, you don't know.
Okay.
Your thoughts are in two categories. Known thoughts, right? That is materialized thoughts or manifested thoughts and unmanifested thoughts.
Okay, sir.
Your unmanifested thoughts will follow this. Your unseen thoughts exteriorize as the acts and objects and events of our individual and collective life. Are you able to follow? Yes, sir.
Sir, are these unmanifested thoughts lies in our subconscious mind?
It could be in the subconscious, it could also be in the environment.
Okay.
See, end of the day, it is something sitting in the nature matter or in the intelligent matter, correct?
Correct.
That means it is in the universe,
Yes.
Yes.
right? Now, in the universe, it could reflect tomorrow as your individual thought, or it could impact the nature as collective thought.
Okay.
That is how we create our destiny.
Okay, sir.
And this is how we create our destiny through life after life on earth. The way out is by learning to think without creating thoughts. Right?
So learning to think without creating thoughts.
That is what this book is going to teach us, he says.
Okay.
Okay. And that is another way that you can control. See, the moment he starts, see, today he has told us that I think with my physical body, which is the body mind. I think beyond that with my feeling, I think with my desire.
Desire mind.
All three are driving my thoughts, are driven by my thoughts. Correct. My actions are driven by my senses. Now, I am getting the information. If I have to bring about a control, I will need to know how to balance these. Right? So that is the way he is going to teach us. So now, let us go a little bit in depth in terms of understanding, right, the three minds. So the body mind, right? The body mind is explained, and feeling and desire he has explained only one because the other one is dependent on each other, right? They are together always. So the body mind is that mind which is commonly spoken of as the mind or the intellect. It is the functioning of feeling and desire as the mover of physical nature. Right? As the operator of the human body machine, and hence is called the body mind. See, that is the reason why we are calling it the body mind, because it is the one that is operating the human body machine. What is human body machine? It is the individual set of matter that is collectively embodied inside the body and which is controlled by the doer, who is under the influence of the senses and so on. Correct? With me?
Yes, sir.
Right? It is the only mind that is geared to and that acts in phase with and through the senses of the body. And thus, it is the instrument by means of which the doer is conscious of and may act upon. Clear? Right? Within and through matter of the physical world. So body mind, we act upon and through the matter of the physical world. Correct? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now let us see. The feeling mind and the desire mind are functioning of feeling, and desire, irrespective of or in connection with the physical world. Correct? See, body mind is directly connected with your physical world. Do you agree?
Yes, yes, sir.
The feeling mind and the desire world is not, it may be connected, it may not be connected.
Not to be connected.
Right? I may sit and dream. I may dream about my physical objects, or I may just dream. These two minds are almost completely submerged in and controlled and subordinated by the body mind. Are you with me? He is slowly trying to build the subconscious mind here. Please understand that.
Okay.
The mind that has got the desire and feeling is not the conscious mind or the intellect or the body mind. Right? So, these two minds are almost completely submerged and controlled and subordinated by the body mind. Correct? Do you agree? That means the body mind controls your desire and feeling mind. Any question? Huh?
जैसे ऐसे थोड़ी सी ट्रिकी सिचुएशन वाला होता है तो उसमें थोड़ी सी एग्जांपल से क्लियर कर सकते हो?
नहीं, एक बात देखिए, आपके पास 3 माइंड है. एक आपका फिजिकल वर्ल्ड में कंट्रोल करता है, आपके शरीर को कंट्रोल करता है.
यस सर.
देयर आर 2 मोर माइंड्स जिसको आप कह रहे हैं कि फीलिंग एंड डिजायर. ओके?
यस सर.
Your feeling and desire are controlled by whom?
Doer.
They are controlled by somebody, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, who is controlling them?
The doer.
नहीं, तीनों doer में ही है ना?
Senses.
The senses वगैरह, but senses belong to whom?
To the
Senses are controlling your body mind, correct?
body mind, yes.
Right? So, if senses are controlling the body mind and the other 2 minds are subservient and controlled and subordinated by the body mind, right? These are not independent. They cannot act independently.
Yes,
They are
without
controlled by the body mind.
body mind, yes.
Okay. Therefore, practically all human thinking has been made to conform to the thinking of the body mind, which ties the doer to nature. देखिए how beautifully he has constructed this. See, you have no doubt got 3 minds. One mind is under the control of the 4 senses. 4 senses belong to whom? Belong to nature, correct? समझ रहे नहीं?
Yes, sir.
The 4 senses belong to nature, correct? It is the manifestation of the nature, or the nature elements, or the nature units, which is the nature machine, which is the universe itself. Correct? Now, body mind is that one which is the intellect. It is functioning, right? It is the functioning of the feeling and desire as the mover of physical nature. Correct? Now, these are components of the doer, and that is why the way the entire construct is that the 3 minds are under the control of the doer in the body. And that is how the doer is related to nature. कुछ doubt है?
ओके
ओके मतलब समझे नहीं समझे?
समझे सर समझे
ठीक है, right? So now, right, and thereby prevents its thinking of itself as something distinct from the body. Are you able to follow now why we think our body, we identify with the body? Correct?
yes
This is also the foundation of the mind and the human relationship, which calls for a good understanding of the interrelated functioning of the three minds of the doer. That is, study of impressions from objects and forces of nature. Right? If you want to understand, we need to understand the impressions and objects and forms of nature that are made through the senses upon the human mechanism. Which, see, what are these impressions, objects, forces of nature? They are the tangible thoughts. Correct? The thinking.
yes
Correct. Now, and the response of the human machine to the impressions thus received. So through senses, you will receive all these impressions. Correct? Then the response of the human machine to the impressions thus received. Thus, this would eventually lead to some kind of understanding as follows. What is that? We need to understand what is the psyche. Correct? What is the mind? A realization of the process of thought, of how the mind functions. All these things we will learn as we go through this book, and the causes and the results of its functioning. How the feeling and desire are directly related to the sexes. Sexes here means the domination of active versus passive, passive to active. How the domination keeps happening, right? The desire and feeling. Explaining that in a man, the feeling aspect is dominated by desire. In a woman, the desire aspect is dominated by feeling. Correct? That in every human, the functioning of the now dominant body mind is more nearly attuned to one or the other of the, according to the sexes of the body in which they are functioning. See, the characteristic of male and female can be existing in anybody. So in every human, the functioning of the now dominant body mind is more nearly attuned to the dominating characteristic at that point. Are you with me?
yes sir
So we respond to the dominating feeling inside. Further, it is shown that all human relations are dependent upon the functioning of the body mind of men and women in their relationship to each other. Everything is with respect to the body mind. So then it takes us through the journey of what we need to know about the soul. Man is made up of a body, soul, and spirit. So yahan tak we will come to gather all that information as we move forward, and then we will learn about the soul. What is the soul? Man is made up of, man यहाँ पे don't take it as man and woman, take it as human, mankind is made up of body, soul and spirit. That the body is an animal organism, but concerned spirit and soul there has been much there, and about the soul there has been much uncertainty and speculation. The living soul is an actual and liberal fact. I mean, not liberal, it is the literal fact. That means there is a living soul. Now, what is a living soul in the body?
It's a doer part.
It is the doer part, but here we don't refer it to as doer part, it is the breath form.
Breath form. Okay.
Correct.
Breath and
So
form.
that
Yes.
breath form is a fact. It shows that it has a purpose and its functioning are of the great importance in the universal plan, and that is indestructible. Right? So when it comes to the soul, soul is nothing but an enactment of
And
all the minds. But there is a purpose. When it comes to the soul, there is a purpose, and that is the purpose of the universal plan. It influences the universal plan of the universe. And the material, the living soul is indestructible. That which has been called the soul is a nature unit. So soul is actually a nature unit, an elemental, a unit of an element that this conscious but unintelligent entity is further advancement of all nature units in the makeup of the body. So our body itself has got units. These units, the soul is the one which is going to help advance. Why? Because soul is also the breath form. While the form is the pattern, breath is the one that is going to achieve that pattern. That's what we learned earlier, right? Okay. Now, as an element, it is the senior most elemental unit in the body organization, the soul. Why? You tell me why? Why is the soul the senior most entity in the body organization? Pardon?
because it is indestructible.
It is indestructible and it is the one that is actually progressing.
Progressing. Yes.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
the reason is having progressed to that function after a long apprenticeship. In the myriad lesser functions comprising nature. Correct. As such, the soul, it serves the immortal doer through all its re-existences by periodically building a new fleshy body for the doer to come into. That is again the function of the breath form. Correct. Being thus the sum of all the nature's laws, this unit is qualified to act as the automatic general manager of nature in the human body mechanism. So that is the function of the soul. देखा कितना अच्छे से build करके आ रहा है.
Yes.
Any question here?
No.
And as the breath form, soul is also the breath form, right? That is the one that is building body after body and maintaining and repairing the body for as long as the destiny of the doer may require, as determined by the doer's thinking. Does
Yes.
it require explanation?
Please.
And maintaining and repairing that body. See, what is happening? We have seen those 12 circles through which we pass, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
How many times will we keep on going through that 12 circles?
Sir.
How many times will you go on through those 12 circles? All the 12 circles represent one lifetime, correct?
Yes.
Right? How many times will you
Yeah.
keep on repeating that? Till your
We get
feeling and desire are completely
Control.
balanced, not controlled,
balanced.
balanced.
Okay.
Right? And you are able to go back to your
Realm
triune
of
self.
permanence. Triumph.
Correct. Correct. Right? So till such time it will keep on doing it. That is the destiny of the soul. Okay.
Means soul अपने experiences लेने के लिए rebirth और progression
it at
के
the
लिए
end that
rebirth करते
see
हैं.
soul's
Yeah.
progression is the plan of the universe.
Yes. For
Correct.
that, it's keep on
And that is
going
also
on.
the plan of the universe.
Yeah.
It is not only the soul's progression, but soul is one of the entities. It is the overall universe progression is the objective of the universal plan. And that is the law of thought also. That is the destiny. Right? Now, when all these nature units completely mature and are completely balanced and they acquire intelligence, the state of triune self, and thereafter the state of intelligence into the realm of permanence, right? Okay. As a unit, it has progressed to the end of it. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So till such time that everything in the universe has come to that level where there is no more need for the role of balancing, that means everything has reached that consciousness. Till such time, this rigmarole of death and birth will continue. Now, further, the soul, this unit is termed the breath form. Correct? The active aspect of the breath form is the breath. The other aspect of the breath form is the passive aspect. In the form or model, the pattern, the mold according to which the physical structure is built out into visible, tangible existence by the action of the breath. That is the
Thoughts.
passive aspect. That is the form. Okay. It has got a structure and that structure is built upon the thoughts and destiny of that particular soul. Please understand. See, write down the word soul, right? Okay. Now, what is soul equal to?
Breath and form.
Correct? Soul is equal to breath plus form, correct?
Breath. Yes.
Right? Now look at it. Where does the form start? Correct? Is that correct? Are you with me? Are you getting what I have written there? Form starts at the nature side. as an unintelligent unit. It will then progress to, right? It will progress into, it will start as a unit and then mature. The highest level of this maturity, sorry, इसको यहाँ लगाते हैं. See, the universe starts with this, correct? Is there any question? It passes through the four worlds, four stages, four planes, and then the highest level of this unintelligent, in the unintelligent side, is the breath form. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts here? Is there any doubt here? See, evolution, where does it start? It starts as an element, correct?
Yes.
Element say, the element will pass through the fire, then it will pass through the air, then water,
Air,
then earth,
water.
correct? Then it will pass through radiance and all those worlds, right? All those atmospheres. And then it will come, and at its highest level on the unintelligent side, on the nature side, it acquires the shape of a breath and form. That breath and form together is the soul. Okay. It then becomes the AIA unit, and when it becomes the AIA unit, it has of the triune self, right? Sorry. So it has a portion of the doer. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And this portion has got a lifetime. Okay. But this doer has to go to multiple times to get the total maturity that he has to get.
Yes.
Where did it shut down? Okay, wherever I was right. So this breath form will become the triune self. A doer will enter and he will move into the intelligent side. Okay. Now, in the intelligent side, he is the soul. He is doing all these activities, right? And then the two aspects of the breath form represent life and form by which structure exists. Correct? ये एक स्ट्रक्चर देता है, ये फॉर्म देता है, ये ब्लूप्रिंट देता है, ये स्ट्रक्चर देता है, दोनों मिला के. Therefore, we say that man consists of body, soul, and spirit. Breath and form is the soul and spirit side of it, right? The physical body composed of gross matter, the spirit is the life of the body and living breath, the breath of life, and the soul is the inner form, the imperishable model of the visible structure. Thus, the living soul is the perpetual breath form which shapes, maintains, repairs, and rebuilds the fleshy body of man. Any questions? This brings us to the end of what I had planned for today. Is that clear? Yeah, anyone having any question? Yeah, anyone having any question?
So, जो one point that come thinking without thoughts,
हाँ,
इसकी explanation आगे होगा या example कोई आप
कौन
बता,
सा
मेरा
कौन सा
mind वहीं पे अटका.
नहीं,
Thinking
कौन सा?
without thought.
Thinking without thought, it is something we will learn how it is going to happen.
Okay. Okay.
Thinking without thoughts, without creating
Sir, in
thoughts.
which
Not
chapter?
thinking
Wow.
without
Sir,
thought
in
नहीं है.
which
Think
chapter?
without creating thoughts.
Yeah.
हाँ,
Sir, in
yeah,
which chapter it is?
I don't know. It is way ahead.
Okay.
इसमें बहुत है. हर
Okay.
mind का एक destiny है.
Okay.
It is not that small a book. We are only on page 8 or something like that.
Okay. So there are 1000 pages.
1080.
1080. Okay.
1080.
Yeah.